two more questions for you, Daniel. A couple of people from the community wanted to know some things. First of all, we heard that the news is you have a course or some type of training camp that you built at your house. Is this true?
Yeah, that's true.
What is it? Who designed it? Who built it? What is it made of? What does it look like? You have pictures of it?
Yeah, well, I've got a few pictures of it. I'm sure I can send you a few across.
That'd be awesome.
What it is, I mean, my brother's just made me an obstacle course one year when I came back from India. It was part of a Christmas present, but you know, I'm really, really happy that they took time out to make it, because it's now become a big part of our workshops that we do here in the Wirral, where I live. And you know, we have literally about 25 kids every year just coming into the back garden. Every summer they come in, and they, you know, there's just, I mean, the great thing about mother and father is that, you know, they always have the door open. Do you know what I mean? Which is just really, really such an amazing inspiration. Like, just, you know, to know that your mum and dad are open to that, really. And they encourage, you know, people to come in and just, you know, just to play. We have crash mats. We have so many different things over the years. But you know, it's just, it gets kids off the streets. It gets them away from violence. It gets them away from doing, you know, naughty, you know, bad things and what have you, doing drugs and all these different things. And it puts them into something positive. Like, so, as I said, it's just fantastic to know that we have this little obstacle course built in the back garden where, you know, kids can come along and just play, really. But also, I spend, you know, so much of my time there as well, because you know, every single day that I go onto that back garden, I'm always finding something new. And the only way I'm able to find something new is if I'm looking outside the box, not, you know, inside the box. Because as I said, even parkour itself, you know, say for instance when you look at a tree, you know, you're told through parkour that it's used for swinging and climbing and jumping on. But, you know, if you learn to look outside of that, there's so much more. You know, you could create a whole new art form just from using one branch, do you know what I mean? But that all depends on whether you restrict yourself when you look at that tree, really. So, I don't know, as I said, my back garden still has so much potential, and I just think it's fantastic, yeah.
Great. That's great. And then one other guy in our community, his name's Kelso, that's what we call him, his real name's Marcelo. He's from Chile, and we heard your family's from Chile, or some heritage or something's from Chile. Is this true?
Yeah, well, my dad's from Chile, Santiago, so half my family are from Chile, so yeah. The thing is, I've never really had the opportunity to go out there. The last time I went was when I was 3 years old, but hopefully we're planning on heading out there later this year or next year, so.
Really? Okay, that's what Kelso wanted to know. He's like, hey, is Daniel ever going to come out to Chile? Yeah, so that's good.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well, in that case, Dan, that's all the questions we have. Is there anything else you wanted to say? Anyone you wanted to say hi to or give recognition to or anything like that?
Well, I mean, what I'd like to say, I mean, this is not just for me, but for everyone like that is practicing parkour, is I've got a question for everyone. Why do you move? This is something that Chow Bell asked us at one of the parkour generation workshops. And I knew the answer, and I spoke to him about it because I found the answer to the reason why it is that I do it. But the question is, why do you move? Why do you move? That is the question.
Oh.
And you know, also one thing I want people to understand is, you know, a lot of people aren't able to talk about. The reason why a lot of people are interested in what I have to say is it's because it's not that it comes from me, but what I say comes from their hearts. Do you know what I mean? I'm just able to put it into words. Now, if they want to learn to put it into the words themselves, you need to live in the moment. Do you know what I mean? And by living in the moment, it's like when you live in the moment, it becomes part of your story. Do you know what I mean? And that's when you're able to speak. Like, I'm going to tell you one of the things that I've been through just over this past few years, really. I mean, one of my experiences, which I've really, really wanted to speak about to a lot of people. I'm actually planning on doing a book because I really need to get a lot of my thoughts down on paper. Basically, I was in Elephant Castle in London, a place in London, and it was a jam, basically, and we were just all training, and I looked over this ledge, and it was quite the drop. I could see a cat to the other side of from this rail. I was looking over the balcony, and I could see this wall in the distance that I could run and vault over to cat onto the wall. And you know, my heart started to race, and I was thinking to myself, you know, I know that I'm going to do this. I can see the possibility of doing it. And then I started to think, well, why is my heart beating so fast? I still have a choice not to do it. Do you know what I mean? I still have that option not to actually, you know, do the jump altogether. So why is it that my heart is racing? And some people will say, well, that's because you're trying to prepare yourself for something. But it's like, why am I trying to prepare myself for something that hasn't yet happened, that I still have a choice not to do? So I knew that it was wrong because, as I said, I'm trying to think ahead in the future, which is wrong because as I said, when the only time that you're truly capable of something, or you're truly safe, is when you live for today, not for the future. So I knew that was wrong, and I calmed myself down, and I took quite a large amount of steps back, and I looked at the gap, and I didn't look at the gap. I looked at the rail that I was going to vault from, and my heart was racing. It didn't race. It started to slow down. It went back to normal, and I then knew that I was ready for this jump. So I ran, and I gave it my all, and midway through the air after vaulting, I knew that I wasn't going to make it at this jump. And in everyone else's eyes, this was like death-defying. Death was just written all over this obstacle that I wanted to jump across, really. And but I chose to accept when I was in the air. The great thing was I chose to accept that I wasn't going to make it. I didn't panic and reach out and try and grab the wall and bail from it, because if I did, then I seriously could have injured myself. But I chose to accept that I wasn't going to make it, and because I chose to accept it, I was still in the moment. I was still because I still understood that I'm not at the wall yet, but I still have a choice to fall or not to fall. So I came down, I hit the wall, and I landed on the floor. I jumped over, and crowds of people just applauding. Oh, that was absolutely amazing! And I was still in the moment. I was still focused, and I was like walking around and what have you. People coming up to me, shaking my hand, and I was like, yeah, thanks a lot. And but then slowly over the weeks, their views on the movement that I did started to affect me. I started to then watch the video footage back and think to myself, yeah, this is absolutely amazing. I can't wait to get this on video. Do you know what I mean? I can't wait to show people what I can do. And I was saying to myself, and sorry, I've just been distracted. Yeah, so I was like, I can't wait to show people what I can do. And but weeks down the line, I then realised I had a real depressing feeling in my heart, and I was trying to suss out what it was, and I realised that it was because I looked back in the past for a second, and I realised it's because I may have been in the moment when I was doing that jump, but I wasn't after it. Do you understand? I was dwelling on the past. So it's almost as if I might as well have not done that movement in the first place, because I obviously hadn't learned anything from it. It just become another physical movement. I hadn't progressed from it at all. But that moment of realisation, to understand that I shouldn't dwell on things that I've done in the past, or feel any happier because I've done this jump or whatever. I should just carry on, live for the moment. So because of that moment of realisation, I'm able to learn from that experience, really. And that's something that has become part of my story, and it's helped me to understand that as my way of talking to other people, that there is no big and small. Every moment is a special moment. Do you know what I mean? And also to learn, I want people to understand, is to learn to accept change. Every day, nothing stays the same. This change happens every single day, and the whole idea of parkour is to be able to adapt to change. Do you know what I mean? Just because something doesn't go the way you want it to, doesn't mean that you should just make such a big deal out of it. You accept it and you deal with what is coming. Do you know what I mean? And because of that, that's why I never fell, and that's why I never died, or that's why I never hurt myself, because I was able to accept that I didn't have control of what will happen to me in the future, that I only have control of who I am today. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that just became part of the story that I thought I'd share with you, really.
Wow. And actually, just to clear up the story, so you did make it then? You did make the...
Well, I didn't make it. A video that I will upload soon, that you will see it at the end of the video. But just, as I said, I don't want people to look at it and think, oh, this is absolutely fantastic. I just want people to realise that I want people to watch it and understand me for me. Do you know what I mean? And just see the choice that I made in that moment. Basically what happened was I missed my hands. I didn't reach my hands out for it because I knew I was too far away from it to do that. So halfway through the air, I'd never practiced this in my life. As I said, it doesn't take years of practice in order to be able to do something. It only takes one moment of being able to accept change, or just to be able to accept that you have to adapt. Do you know what I mean? That what I did in mid-air is I stuck my legs out and I hit the wall with my legs, and then just dropped on the floor. I put my toes into the wall, and then I bent my legs in the wall, and then I dropped on the floor. And I was okay. Do you know what I mean? And that was, as I said, because I chose to accept that I didn't have control of what might happen to me. And I didn't fear it as well. Do you know what I mean? So I was safe. And as I said, this video will be uploaded soon. I'd like for you to put maybe in the interview or some sort, for people to understand that that every moment is a choice, and I made that choice through that movement that I did, not to fall and not to hurt myself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, because so many people fall and keep falling, but they don't realise that that's a choice that they're making, and if they don't learn from that fall, they're going to do the same thing again. Do you know what I mean? If they're afraid of falling, they're going to be, they're going to fall because they're afraid, and it's just going to be a cycle until the point where their body is unable to take it anymore, and they won't be able to practice parkour because they haven't learned from the first time that they fell. Do you know what I mean? It only takes one fall to realise your own potential, to realise that everything is a choice. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the same with fear. Fear is not our own. Fear is what's put onto us by other people, and that's the problem with a lot of people, is they believe that when they fear something, that it's themselves, it's who they are, but they don't realise it's what's been put upon them by the generation before them, what they've been told is safe and not safe. Do you know what I mean? And that is entirely up to them whether they choose to accept the way other people view that, or choose to accept the way they choose to view it. Really, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for that story, Daniel. That was good.
No worries.
I think that's it, Daniel. Thank you so much today for spending time with us, and congratulations again on just being a part of a project. The 2050. It's the printings can be purchased at 2050sport.com, and congratulations on just what you have achieved. Just again, if you don't think there's a level of accomplishment, I suppose, even though you say it's not about me, Dan, or it's not about like I'm different than anybody. There's still something you've achieved that's very admirable, and so congratulations on that and on the work you've done.
Thanks a lot for that. I see what it is. I mean, we're stuck in a world today where people judge people straight away just by how they look. Do you know what I mean? And so it is very, very hard for people to become who they want to be, because there's already the world that look upon them as this certain person. Do you know what I mean? And so I guess obviously we go through every day. Every day is a battle, and as I said, it doesn't matter how big or small it is. The battle is exactly the same and identical to everyone else's battle. Do you know what I mean? A precision to a fence, or a precision to a little wall could be just as difficult as the movement that I went through, that moment that I did it. Do you know what I mean? As I said, there is no big or small. Everything is a choice, and you either choose to fall or choose not to, really. So, and as I said, there is no bigger battle or smaller battle. I want everyone to know that we're all going through the same thing, and that I view them the same way I view myself. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people say, I use this as an example because this is what happened to me when I was younger. When I was at school, my PE teacher, looked at me, and they looked at this, this kid that was overweight, and saw more potential in me than they did in that person, and that really saddened me, because just they're judging that person on how they look. They don't realise that person has the same potential as anyone else. Do you know what I mean? So there's a lot of people out there that don't believe that they're capable, and I just want them to know that. I want them to listen to me when I say I know for a fact that whatever they want to be, I'm 100% convinced that that's what they can do. You know what I mean? If they put their mind to it, and if they just trust themselves and believe in themselves, really. Yeah.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Well, again, thank you, Daniel, for your time today, and good luck with your endeavors and your work, and take care and be safe.